You ever walk out of a design review feeling like you just went 10 rounds in a boxing ring? Yeah? Your ideas got picked apart, the feedback was all over the map, and you walked out with way more questions than answers. Trust me, we've all been there. But what if I told you there's a way to turn all that chaos into crystal clear clarity? Well, today, we're going to open up the playbook that does exactly that. This is your guide for presenting wireframes with authority, with confidence, and yeah, with a whole lot less frustration. Okay, so let's dive right in. You want to know the real secret that separates a frustrating, go-nowhere debate from a decisive, productive session? It's not about having better designs, it's about having a better plan. Think of this as your master plan for success. And here it is, that 5-point master plan. First, we're going to set the stage for success. Then we'll narrate the what and why of your designs. Third, facilitate fearless feedback. Fourth, close strong. And finally, drive that momentum forward. Let's get to it. First up, setting the stage. Look, how you start the meeting pretty much determines how it's going to end. This is where you take control, you set the tone, and you define the purpose of the meeting before anyone even sees a single wireframe. And it all starts with a powerful opening. A simple line, just like this one, immediately frames the entire conversation around outcomes and decisions, not just, random opinions. You're telling everyone in the room, hey, this is a working session, not just a show and tell. Now, before you show anything, you have to get the room aligned. State the goal clearly. What business problem are we actually trying to solve here? Who are we solving it for? And just as important, what are our constraints? Getting everyone to nod their heads on these things first, well, that makes sure they're judging your designs against the right criteria. Okay, let's move on to the main event, narrating your work. Now, this isn't just about clicking through screens, okay? It's about telling the story of your design, explaining the very deliberate choices you made, and connecting every single one of them back to those goals we just agreed on. This is the moment where you stop being a presenter and you become a tour guide. You're not just showing them boxes and lines. You're explaining the thinking behind it all, the information architecture that creates order, the visual hierarchy that guides their eye, and the user flow that takes them from A to B. And as you're guiding them, you might use a term like progressive disclosure. Hey, don't just assume everybody knows what you mean. Take a quick second to explain it. It shows you're not just throwing around buzzwords. You're applying real, solid principles to make things easier for the user. This, right here, is how you level up your rationale. You go from saying, I think, to research shows. Instead of just showing a button, you connect it to establish principles. You use Fitts' law to explain why the touch targets are that size. You use Nielsen's heuristics to explain feedback. You are grounding your work in objective fact, not just personal taste. It is also so important to manage expectations. A simple statement like this one prevents the entire meeting from getting derailed by a 30-minute debate about the shade of blue you used. You're gently but firmly telling your audience, this is the kind of feedback I need from you right now. Okay, you've presented. Now comes the part that's tough for a lot of people, facilitating the feedback. Honestly, this is the skill that separates senior leaders from junior designers. It's not about being defensive. It's about guiding the conversation to a productive place. So when the feedback starts drifting into personal preference, and trust me, it always does, you can gently reel it back in by reframing the discussion around the goals that everyone already agreed on. Suddenly, you're not the defensive artist, you're the objective facilitator. So what do you do when one of your decisions is challenged? What's your best move? The single most powerful tool you have is data. Because you know what? Subjective opinions tend to get real quiet in the face of cold, hard facts. Just picture it. There's a debate about two layouts. One person likes A, someone else likes B. Instead of arguing, you just present this number. We tested both layouts. Version B got people to the first action 30% faster. Boom. The debate is over. That one number just turned a subjective argument into an objective business decision. See? Data isn't a defense, it's evidence. But what about good ideas that are just off topic? Well, you don't want to dismiss them, but you can't get derailed either. Acknowledge the point, make the person feel heard, and then put it in the parking lot. This technique is brilliant. It respects the contribution without killing the meeting's momentum. We're in the home stretch now. And listen, how you end the meeting is every bit as important as how you start it. A weak ending leaves everyone confused. But a strong closing? That turns a good conversation into real, tangible action. To make sure all that hard work actually sticks, you have to end with absolute clarity. Before anyone leaves the room, you recap, just like this. You state exactly what was decided, what's still open, and this is the most important part, who owns what by when. It's that simple. It creates alignment and accountability. So let's just boil this all down to a simple set of do's and don'ts, shall we? You do focus on outcomes. You do connect decisions to data. You do close with clear owners. And you avoid the stuff on the right. You do that, and you're not just running a meeting anymore. You are driving real progress. So there it is. You now have the playbook, the scripts, the strategy, the whole shebang. The chaos of your past design reviews, well, that doesn't have to be your future. The only question left is, how are you going to run your next one?